So who manages your social channels?
In terms of all my social channels and who manages those, I have, my feed I do myself, Tom Aikens, and then the others are actually handled by Irene, who you met. So together we'll do the Tom's Kitchen one as well, because I obviously do all the menus and the food and everything, but she mainly does the Tom's Kitchen deli. But when I go over to either of the Tom's Kitchens, I pretty much will take a picture and I'll upload that as well. So we share it sort of even Stevens really.
And do you think the younger chefs of the industry are going to make bigger change in the use of social?
I think the younger chefs that are coming through today, in my kitchen, from 20 plus years old, they've all got Facebook page, they're all using Twitter, they're all using Instagram, and it's a great way for people to know who they are, where they're working. They like to say where they're working. They like to say that I've helped, to prepare this dish. It makes them look good. And it gives them confidence as well. And as we've seen, a lot of the young chefs who have gone on and done their own pop-ups have actually found investment in doing pop-ups, and that's because of social media. So I think they're very aware of that, and it's given them the confidence and given them a voice to say, hey, look at me, I'm actually quite good at what I'm doing, here's the proof. So I think, the next 10 years is going to be very exciting to see where social media is, in restaurants, and how the young chefs of today are using it.
And what do you think the future is? And we're seeing short videos with Vine and Instagram. I think even more use of photos than we've ever seen before. Where do you see this all heading?
As long as it's not social media and where it's heading, as long as there's not going to be sort of, live webcams in kitchens, then, that's fine. But no, I think it's going to be very interesting. As I said, I think, the way that it hits people in seconds, is very exciting. And even when we obviously send a newsletter out, you can actually see the demographics of the people, what countries it's hitting, how long, they're actually looking at the newsletter for. All these types of analytics that you can get is amazing, and I'm sure that's going to be improved, and it only gives us information, and in terms of targeting the right audience. And as for the young chefs, I think the more that they use it, the more confident they're going to get. And I think for them, it's very difficult, I think, in today's world of finding investors and finding financial backing. Because restaurants, they're a tough industry, but now that they've got their own platform, to say, this is who I am, this is what I'm doing, this is where I want to go, it's going to be an easier way, I think, for them to reach out to people who have deep pockets.
Do you think we'll get to the point where we'll see restaurant bookings being taken via Twitter and Facebook?
Well, I think, in terms of reservations, bookings, I think it's pretty much already happening. In the US, a lot of places now are literally doing, pop-up restaurants, and you've got to pay before you go. A lot of restaurants in the US particularly are using PayPal and things like that, where you have to pre-book or prepay. I think it's only going to be a matter of time before you're going to get an app where you can book, you can book online and even pay before for your meal, because I think that's another problem that we have in restaurants is, people book, when they come to town, 2-3 restaurants, and you have no shows. And that's still, a big problem with restaurants, is that, you have X amount of seats, you've got to fill all those seats, yet you still get people who are not turning up. And I think that would be a great way for restaurants to be able to make sure, guarantee that people, when they come in, they've already prepaid, they've already pre-booked, and you're going to get X amount of seats in that evening.
So I think that's a brilliant hint or tip for other chefs. Do you have any others?
Well, I just think in terms of accepting and using social media for all the positives that it is, because it's not going to go away. I think you've got to embrace it, you've got to use it to the best advantage that you can, and the biggest thing is it's free. It's free to use it in a positive manner, and I think as long as it's used in that framework, it can only be a huge positive for chefs and for restaurants.